There has never been a more difficult time for Julia Roberts and Danny Moder's 22-year marriage. A tragic prognosis was recently delivered to the adored actress, shattering their previously ideal lives. Speculation regarding their future is rampant as Daniel stands by his wife. Is this the final chapter of their Hollywood romance for real? Keep watching to find out how Julia's terrible news affected their everlasting love and the heartbreaking farewell that Daniel Moder gave. Julia Fiona Roberts' dramatic beginning began with her birth on October 28, 1967, in Smyrna, Georgia. Her literary and performing parents were Walter Grady Roberts and Betty Lou Berdemus. While serving in military theater plays, they crossed paths. It seemed nearly like a screenplay, didn't it? An interesting mix of English, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, German, and Swedish ancestry makes up her history. An authentic conglomeration of cultures. While her mother was a devout Catholic, her father was a Baptist. The fact that Julia was reared in a Catholic household unsurprisingly impacted her formative years. The Roberts clan is quite close-knit. Lisa Roberts-Gillen and Eric Roberts are both performers. Julia is the younger of their two siblings. Another member of her acting family, her niece Emma Roberts, continued the profession. Julia and Eric fortunately patched things up in 2004 after being silent for years. A younger half-sister named Nancy Motes was also in her family. Sadly, she passed away in 2014. There was more to Julia's parents than acting. They were trailblazers. Midtown Atlanta is home to the Atlanta Actors and Writers Workshop, which they co-founded. In Decatur, Georgia, they even had an acting school for kids. Behold this interesting piece of information. This school was attended by the children of Coretta and Martin Luther King Jr., and Yolanda King's acting coach was Julia's dad. Isn't that a tiny world? And in a touching turn of events, Coretta King paid for Julia's medical cost as a sign of her appreciation and generosity. On the other hand, there were some rocky patches in the Roberts marriage tale. Their 1955 wedding was soon followed by their 1971 divorce. In early 1972, once the divorce was finalized, Julia remained in Smyrna with her mom. Campbell High School, Griffin Middle, and Fitzhugh Lee Elementary were her educational stops. Remarried to Michael Motes was Julia's mother. This part of her life was not enjoyable. In sharp contrast to the nurturing home Julia had known, Michael was violent and often unemployed. The grounds for her mother's final 1983 divorce from him were cruelty. According to her, it was the gravest error she had ever made. Despite the difficulty of the time, Julia was able to persevere. At the young age of 10, Julia lost her father to cancer. The impact of those early setbacks on her was profound. Julia, a young girl, had hopes and ambitions despite all of this. A veterinarian was her career goal. Absolutely a veterinarian. During her time in high school, she was even a clarinetist. There were numerous possible outcomes for her life. She enrolled at Georgia State University following her graduation from Campbell High. Nevertheless, she found herself drawn to New York City by the allure of the theater and television. Julia took acting classes and signed with the Click modeling agency when she was in New York City. Here she started her path to fame. She became one of the most legendary actors in Hollywood after rising from humble beginnings as a dreamer in a tiny village. A tiny yet memorable job launched Julia Roberts' career to stardom. Her acting career began on Crime Story, where she played a child victim of rape. The part foreshadowed future greatness. She had a successful debut on the big screen not long after. She co-starred with Justine Bateman and Liam Neeson as a band member trying to land a summer engagement. However, her breakthrough came with Mystic Pizza. The romantic comedy starred Julia as a teenage girl of Portuguese-American descent who worked as a pizza delivery lady. Skeptics paid attention. She had ferocious energy and major beauty, according to Roger Ebert. All of the young actors, including Julia, who appear in this film, he said, will go on to stardom. More importantly, he was correct. The cinematic version of Robert Harling's play Steel Magnolias was her subsequent big role. In the role, Julia co-starred with Hollywood greats Shirley MacLaine and Sally Field as a young bride battling diabetes. Despite several well-known actors being considered, the casting director was adamant about seeing Julia. The room was enlivened by Julia's radiant smile as she entered. She was very stunning in the role. She received her first Golden Globe nomination and won her first Oscar for her performance, despite working under a demanding director. Her breakout role, Pretty Woman, propelled her to international stardom. The role that Julia performed was that of a strong-willed freelance hooker. She received 2 Golden Globe nominations and 1 Oscar nomination for the performance. At the time of its release, Pretty Woman had the biggest opening weekend gross of any romantic comedy. In the film, Julia wore a red outfit that became famous. Following Pretty Woman, Julia portrayed the lead role in the eerie thriller Flatliners, which followed college students as they experimented with NDEs. The picture was commercially successful and went on to acquire a cult following despite negative reviews. In Sleeping with the Enemy, she reprised her role as a wounded woman beginning anew, continuing her scorching run. The picture made $175 million globally, making it a success. Tinkerbell was portrayed by Julia in Hook. Dying Young, a romantic drama, also featured her. These movies did well at the box office despite the varied reviews they got. Then Julia went on a 2-year break, during which she made a brief appearance in The Player. Even People magazine wanted to know what Julia Roberts got up to on her vacation. She returned to the screen with a resounding victory. The Pelican Brief, a suspenseful film about a law student who discovers a conspiracy, featured her opposite Denzel Washington. It was a commercial success. Nevertheless, her subsequent features such as I Love Trouble and Preta Porter were commercial and critical busts. As Chandler's former classmate, Julia had a memorable cameo on Friends. In addition to Mary Riley, which bombed at the box office, she was in the historical drama Michael Collins, a romantic comedy about her attempts to rekindle her friendship with her best friend. My Best Friend's Wedding, however, gave her career another boost. Ranked among the all-time great romantic comedies, the picture was a smashing success at the box office around the world. As an assistant attorney general, she co-starred with Mel Gibson in the Mel Gibson film Conspiracy Theory. Although critics were divided, the picture nonetheless managed to bring in $137 million. Stepmom is a drama about a mother who is terminally sick and the woman who will eventually become her children's stepmother. Julia has also made an appearance on Sesame Street. Later, in Notting Hill, Julia co-starred with Hugh Grant as an actress who becomes enamored with a bookshop owner. At the time of its release, the picture was the most successful British film of all time. She was further cemented as the queen of romantic comedies after receiving critical acclaim for her performance. In Runaway Bride, she starred opposite Richard Gere again as a woman who frequently abandons her betrotheds. The film was financially successful even though critics gave it mixed reviews. A Primetime Emmy nomination came Julia's way for her guest appearance on Law & Order. After making history in the early 2000s as the first actress to earn $20 million from a single film, Julia Roberts went on to dominate Hollywood in the decade that followed. She achieved this landmark while playing the role of Erin Brockovich, a real-life environmental activist. Roberts had a moving performance as Erin fought the Pacific Gas and Electric Company. A lot of people thought she did a great job. Observing her handling of the difficulties of being a single mother while simultaneously calming Erin's determined spirit. Roberts won the Oscar for Best Actress, and the picture made $256.3 million globally. Among the 50 most powerful women in Hollywood, she was also named by The Hollywood Reporter. Roberts and her buddy Brad Pitt starred in the road gangster comedy The Mexican after Erin Brockovich. Despite the romantic comedy genre, the film's emphasis was on the journey rather than their on-screen romance. The $66.8 million it made in the U.S. is quite impressive. Her next role was as the former overweight sister of a famous Hollywood actress on America's Sweethearts. Over $138 million was made globally for the picture, which was met with mixed reviews. Roberts was a part of an A-list cast in the 2010 reboot of the classic 1960 film Ocean's 11. She co-starred with George Clooney as Tess Ocean. The picture made $450 million worldwide, making it a financial triumph. Roberts' performance in the heist film cemented her place among Hollywood's elite actresses. She played a progressive art history professor at Wellesley College in her subsequent major film role, Mona Lisa's Smile. The film's box office haul was over $141 million, even if reviews were mixed. Then, in the play-based romance drama Closer, she took Cate Blanchett's position. Roberts' versatility was on display in this film, which included an ensemble cast that included Jude Law. In Ocean's 12, she played Tess Ocean again, a character that playfully mimics the real-life Julia Roberts. The picture earned $363 million globally, making it another box office smash. Roberts debuted in 2005 with her performance in the music video for Dream Girl by Dave Matthews Band. By 2005, she had become a staple on The Hollywood Reporter's annual list of the highest-paid actresses. Though her performance in 3 Days of Rain garnered mixed reviews, she made her Broadway debut and provided voice acting for characters in The Aunt Bully and Charlotte's Web. In Charlie Wilson's War, Robert co-starred with Tom Hanks and Philip Seymour Hoffman as the wealthy socialite Joanne Herring. She was nominated for another Golden Globe for the picture, which received rave reviews. In addition to her role as a CIA agent in the comedic thriller Duplicity, she was in the indie film Fireflies in the Garden. Her portrayal in Duplicity, which garnered critical acclaim and a Golden Globe nomination, was characterized by maturity. Roberts maintained her stellar career during the following decade. Her roles in Valentine's Day and Eat, Pray, Love were as an army captain and a divorced author, respectively, dealing with self-discovery. Roberts' highest-grossing debut in a leading role since America's Sweethearts was the latter picture. Following her role as Snow White's evil queen in the contemporary adaptation Mirror, Mirror, she co-starred with Tom Hanks and Larry Crowne. Despite critical acclaim for her performance, Mirror was a worldwide smash, grossing $183 million. August, Osage County, in which Roberts co-starred with Meryl Streep and Ewan McGregor, garnered a slew of accolades, including 4 nominations for the Academy Award. The Normal Heart, an HBO version of Larry Kramer's play, was well praised, and she subsequently played the role of Dr. Emma Bruckner. She was nominated for a Primetime Emmy for this role. For Givenchy's 2014 campaign, Roberts acted as narrator, and she also participated in Maker's Women Who Make America, the remake of an Argentine film, Secret in Their Eyes, in which she starred, bombed at the box office. For Mother's Day, she teamed up with Gary Marshall again, but audiences weren't too enthusiastic. However, Muddy Monster, her second feature picture under Jodie Foster's helm, showcased her star power opposite George Clooney and was a commercial success. Wonder starred Roberts as the mother of a young boy affected by Treacher-Collins syndrome. She was well received by critics, and the film made $305.9 million at the box office. In Smurfs: The Lost Village, she provided the voice for a character as well. Her portrayal of a troubled young man's mother in Ben is Back was so moving that she received accolades for the role. Roberts was a caseworker at a clandestine government facility in her first regular TV role on the series Homecoming. Her second Golden Globe nomination came from the critically acclaimed series. The love story of Danny Moder and Julia Roberts is an enduring Hollywood fairy tale that triumphed against all difficulties. In the year 2000, when filming The Mexican, they initially met paths. While Danny was busy behind the scenes as a cameraman, Julia was appearing opposite Brad Pitt. Both had other relationships going on simultaneously. Makeup artist Vera Steinberg was Danny's wife, and Julia was in a relationship with actor Benjamin Bratt. Despite their platonic beginnings, their bond was evident. They got to witness each other's finest and worst sides due to the long, hard hours on set, Julia thought later. They were there for one another through thick and thin, and their friendship flourished. Unfortunately, 2001 was the year that ended both of their relationships. In June, Danny divorced Vera, and Julia and Benjamin broke up. Julia and Danny began dating not long after. Many were curious about their relationship. Because of when they started dating, Danny's marriage was said to have ended because of Julia. She consistently refuted this, saying that they had both dealt with their problems separately before they were together. Their relationship strengthened despite the issue. On July 4th, Julia and Danny tied the knot. The property in New Mexico that Julia owned was the site of the wedding. Under the pretense of celebrating Independence Day, they invited close friends and family, concealing their true intent until the very end. They tied the knot around midnight, revealing the true purpose of the gathering. Enchanted by the rose petals and candles, the small wedding was held beneath an arch of silk sheaths. Danny sported a crimson ruffled shirt and beige slacks, while Julia sported a delicate pink cotton frock bedecked with pearls and vintage beads. In front of their loved ones and the breathtaking Sangre de Cristo mountains in the background, they exchanged genuine, intimate vows. The addition of children to their union quickly deepened their bond. Their twins, Phineas and Hazel, were born in November 2004. Julia frequently expresses her deep love and devotion to her family, referring to Danny as her rock and her children as her universe. She has expressed the profound bond they share by saying that witnessing Danny's arrival at the door daily is like waking up from a dream. Julia and Danny are both famous, but they've kept their relationship under wraps. Their happiness has endured because of this privacy. In real life and on television, they've been there for each other through thick and thin. As an example, Danny shot the suspenseful thriller The Secret in Their Eyes, in which Julia had a leading role. She said that being there for Danny helped her give her finest performance. The closeness between them extends beyond collaborative ventures, though. It all starts with a profound and ever-expanding affection for one another. Meeting Danny was a turning point in Julia's life, she said once, proclaiming the profound impact it had on her life. Frequently, she mentions how Danny helps her feel comfortable being herself by highlighting her best qualities and providing her with clear self-image. According to Julia, physical touch is also very important in their relationship. In her view, the key to maintaining their romance is lots of kissing. These simple, ordinary acts deepen their connection. Their profound love shines through even in the infrequent instances when they discuss their relationship. Whenever Danny walks through the door, Julia expresses her excitement. Marrying Danny was the finest choice she's ever made, she told Gwyneth Paltrow on their 2018 Goop podcast. She brought up the fact that their bond is getting stronger with each passing year. Big ceremonies and public proclamations aren't the only things that matter in their marriage. The foundation is laid by the ordinary, the subtle encouragement, and the steadfast affection they exchange. While Julia acknowledges that her acting career is a lifelong goal, she stresses that her family is her #1 priority. The life they've created together is precious to her, and she loves nothing more than spending the day at home with Danny and their kids. Many have paid respect to their partnership in public. In a touching social media post commemorating Danny's 55th birthday, Julia gushed about the great man who brings so much joy into their lives. The couple's undivided attention, joy in one another's company, and mutual respect are all on display in these intimate peeks into their lives together. Julia recently put an end to rumors regarding marital problems with a touching Instagram post. "My forever Valentine" was the caption she gave a vintage photo of the two of them kissing that she posted on Valentine's Day. There were rumblings of unrest, but this unusual expression of adoration put an end to them. Their romance has always piqued people's curiosity. Even though they are one of the most reclusive couples in Hollywood, they do occasionally let fans in on their life. The permanence of their love was conveyed in Julia's post. Julia, despite her tough exterior, has been secretly fighting thrombocytopenic purpura, a rare condition, for more than 15 years. The illness is characterized by a decrease in platelets, which makes bruising and other symptoms more common. The strange bruises were initially spotted by Danny, who then strongly suggested that she consult a doctor. Her diagnosis was based on when the immune system erroneously targets its own platelets, a condition known as thrombocytopenic purpura develops. The treatment entails keeping track of platelet counts through routine medical examinations. The spleen may have to be removed in extreme circumstances. As part of her treatment, Julia is taking a cocktail of drugs that work together to increase platelet formation and decrease the body's natural defenses against them. She has persisted in her fruitful career notwithstanding this, keeping her personal, professional, and health-related lives in check. Julia's fortitude and resilience are on full display in her capacity to keep up her job while coping with her disability. She keeps shining both on and off screen while undergoing treatments every day. Without a question, her unwavering fight against this sickness has been greatly aided by the loving and supportive connection she has with Danny.